That has
I'm sure
to
they
be,
care a lot about that.
That has to be a go-to.
Well, if they do play that comp, how do you think it's going to do against jungle Super Ts?
I think it's going to do really well. I think Paladin in general is just a good answer. Its cooldowns constantly deal with those burst windows from jungle, and that comp specifically, it makes what is normally a fragile class, the Enhancement Shaman, really durable. Just get in there for purges, and then the warrior sustain pressure, cleave damage, mortal wounds effect. I mean, it's just a standard kind of run down the priest if you want. You can do whatever, really. You could play defensive attack DPS. It's just got great sustained cleave pressure, can last a long time, and win on mana as well.
All right, well, the game is starting here. Wildcard Gaming versus nLite, game number 1.
All right, it looks like we have... Oh, you go on.
Thank you very much, Zico. Yeah, it looks like we are going to be having Looney play the Paladin, Blizzo on the Windwalker Monk, and Maro on the Fire Mage. So this is a composition that started getting popular in North America, but I think there's lots of vulnerabilities, and they're actually going after Blizzo. Big damage on Blizzo. He gets the Karma off, and unfortunately won't be able to trade, and it looks like Blizzo's actually going to be going after Zuniaki, although I get the feeling that they're not going to be able to put out too much pressure on this Priest as to his last. I don't know if I like this composition from Wildcard Gaming. Definitely gonna have to see how this one plays out, but I just feel like Blizzo and Maro, they're great targets for Facile and Cassie to go after. Maybe they can get some big one-shots onto Zuniaki. They're actually spiting him. Big spite setup here onto Zuniaki, and I don't mind this, that's for sure. I think if Zuniaki gets caught into these combos, he already had to trade the pain suppression, and he's going to be very susceptible to being taken down. Maro Kleptomania immediately on that Master's Call, and Wildcard Gaming, they obviously came in with a game plan, and now I like this composition a lot more.
Barriers down. Zuniaki's still struggling. He's just outright dead. A thing from beyond, I think, spawned there. He cleansed it, but he's still just so low. And now that barrier is about to fall. He desperate prayers. Goes for the Rapture-powered shields. Gets counterspelled on Shadow Men. Line of sighting here and trying to recover. But more things from beyond? How high is his corruption right now? I mean, the next spite, he's pretty much done. All they have to do is crowd control the pet and prevent it from using Master's Call, and I think they're going to totally overload Zuniaki.
Wait, Zuni has 14 stacks right now somehow, in spite of him.
Still?
Yeah, his stacks are
That's just I have corruption, not spite.
Oh, okay. He had an eye broke. I was so confused. So Zuni now.
Here
comes the spikes. There it is. Paralyzed.
The pet's in crowd control.
Oh, the pet's in the Nova behind the pillar. He gets sheeped, he gets ringed, he gets hodged. Look at the
Goodbye.
stats.
Goodbye.
Play the coffin dance song. Let's go.
Vitality? He died through Vitality. He was that overloaded.
Yep.
Oh,
so, man. Yeah, originally, looking at those compositions, I was like, how are they going to win? I don't think they're going to be able to take down Zuniaki, but, you know, when you use the Blinding Light, you use the Dragon's Breath, you use the Hammer of Justice, the Leg Sweep, Polymorph, and keep Zuniaki in the spite, and you just immediately Kleptomania. Kleptomania is such a good talent for mages. You can just immediately remove the Master's Call, which is the only way Zuniaki would be able to survive, and they really punished him on that Priest, and I don't even know what they can do about this. Like, I don't even know if there's anything Zuniaki can really change. What is he going to do? Yeah, maybe, I guess he could play Paladin, he could play Mistweaver Monk, but I don't know if he can keep playing Priest. I feel like if he keeps playing Priest, Wildcard Gaming has found an answer. They found the answer.
All right, well, Wildcard Gaming up 1-0 against nLite. I want for the next game you guys to look at Zuni's camera. Did you see? I swear he just took all of the plants in his apartment and like put them behind him. But we do have the replay from that last game here, Zico.
Yeah, and there it is. Paralyze, triple spite, and look at the pet as well. The pet is blinded right now, so they're spamming Master's Calls, but they can't use it. And the pet is still in that blind. How long does that blind last on the pet? Now he can finally use Master's Call. He's going to, but
it walks into a ring.
It walks into a ring. So they can't use a Master's Call this entire time. Zuni has max stacks right now, and there's just nothing he can do. Like, at that point, you are in the biggest checkmate position that you could possibly be in. Like, the Coffin Dance song was already playing in my head while I was casting that part.
Yeah, what a solid way to start out this series, too, on the side of Wildcard Gaming. Do you think, though, that this is going to be something they can sustain and potentially send nLite out of this series with a 3-0 here, Supertees?
I don't know. It's Zuni. I don't want to count Zuni out.
True.
I feel like if he's got his Paladin practiced, that could be a good way to just counter the spite. I think Paladin would do pretty good in this matchup too. I'm wondering if other matchups like Paladin Jungle wouldn't do that great, but this one, it seems like it would be okay. You got just Blinding Light instead of Fear, play Ineffable Truth, reduce its cooldown. Seems like it would work. So this next, if they lock Windwalker Mage, I would like to see Zuniagi switch to Paladin.
And if they do switch to Paladin, do you think that's like puts them at like an even match in terms of composition, or is that just, do we think that's going to be enough there, Ven?
I'm not sure. It all depends on how well Zuniaki plays the Paladin. I think it's an option. I don't know if they can really run anything else. I mean, maybe when we talked about it earlier on, maybe this is where they bring in Kara. You bring in the freedom from the Paladin, and that might be enough to help them win this one. I don't know if I'm convinced of that, but I think Wildcard Gaming with the spite strategy on the Priest, I think Jungle is really susceptible to that. And the Wildcard Gaming, I think they brought the right composition, they brought the right strategy, and nLite's going to have to adapt. I feel like if they don't adapt, they're going to lose this series. So we have to see something different besides the Discipline Priest Jungle, because I really don't think there's anything they can do about it. It's all instant crowd control that sets it up. You can't really do anything. You can maybe premonition the Paralyze or something like that, but it's just so unreliable to get out of that.
Yeah, and you know what, this is the AWC, anything is possible. We've definitely seen teams turn around in these tough situations where we maybe didn't think that they had too many options and then pull it off with a win here. But I know Ven said maybe we see Kara come out off the bench here at Super Tees, but I know how you feel about that. What would you think if they decided to do that?
Come off the bench and go into the grave. That's about. I mean, they just don't play spite and they just kill the Ret Paladin. I feel like there's no way. It has to be Holy Pally. No Ret Pally.
I think Kara's been practicing his Holy Pally.
Well, Zuni, I'm pretty sure can play Paladin. I'm 99% sure he can play Paladin. So it's more or less, does Paladin work in the matchup, which I feel like it should. Like you can bop off, you probably go Monk if you want. Go Monk, you've got bop off Karma, you've got cross crowd control for the Mage, you can just Hodge the Mage when you're Hunter and Feral move in to CC the other Paladin. I feel like it wouldn't be bad. Like Holy Paladin Jungle in this specific matchup, you got a counter to the Spite option, you've got a good kill target on the Monk, you have great crowd control, you have a Holy Paladin with Ineffable, you can never go wrong with that. I feel like it's not a bad option as long as he can play Paladin at a decent level.
If we do see them bring out that Holy Paladin, then what's their win conditions, Ego? What's their strat going into this game?
If they play Holy Pala Jungle,
yeah,
it would pretty much be the same thing. Like the big weakness from the Holy Pala Jungle is that the Mage becomes a worse target than if you have a Priest, because you have Dispels, but you're not going to be doing too much on the Mage, but you could still take down the Windwalker, and you could still maybe go on the enemy Holy Paladin, but I think mainly it's got to be the Windwalker. You get traps and try to bop the Karma, use Maledicts, chase them down, see if you can catch Blizzo. But I'm not even sold that that they were going to run the same comp again.
I'm actually thinking more and more about it. I don't like the Holy Pally Jungle. I don't think it would be that good. I think all of a sudden you lose your ability to remove Blessing of Protection, or Blessing of Freedom, so they're going to have that as a safety net. You can't dispel, the Blazing Barriers, the Temporal Shield. You lose that on Dark Archangel, and not only that, the Paladin has no way to defend himself like a Priest does to Mage crowd control. So I think he's going to be a lot more susceptible to be put in polymorphs, and I don't know if it would work out for them. I don't really know what they can do right now. They're probably scratching their heads, just like us, because I mean, if they could run the Priest Jungle, that's going to be their best option. Wildcard Gaming, they're going to be locking in the exact same thing. Even Maro and Blizzo, they're playing the Mecha Gnome, so taking a page from Gelu for that kind of like cheat death cauterize effect on that Mecha Gnome to make sure that they're not getting gibbed by the the very fast, big burst comp like Jungle. And as long as they can get these rinse repeat setups on Zuniaki, I feel like it's going to be pain suppression, and then it's going to be dead in two setups, and that's why I feel like nLite has to switch it up. But I thinking about it, I don't even know what composition they could run into this.
Yeah, well, nLite only has about 30 seconds left to pick their composition here for the draft. They did lock in Blackroot Cold, Wildcard Gaming playing that Windwalker Mage, nLite now locking in Jungle with Zuni on the Disc Priest, Ben.
I'm really surprised about this. I mean, I'm curious to see what they come up with, because they need to have an answer for the Spite. And I don't know if they do. Like, I just don't know how you can avoid the setup. Like, it's just instant crowd control into triple Spite and double stuns, and yeah, I don't know. nLite, they obviously have something up their sleeves in this one, and if they don't, I think it's going to be a very similar story to what we saw in game number 1.
Yeah, Zuni locking in that Disc Priest, not one that I don't think we discussed during this break here between games, Super Tees. What do you think? Do you think that we can maybe take a guess as to what they're thinking with this choice?
How are you going to stop Spite? You've got Master's Call. You got pre-Void Elf the Paralyze. That's such a Zuni thing. He could play Ripple in Time. Pre-Ripple in Time.
Ripple in Time is actually a good... I'm not even joking. I think Ripple in Time is actually a good idea. Although, I don't know if it is, because the thing is, like, even if you get out of Spite, the damage is done. Like, you paralyze, triple Spite, Blinding Light, Polymorph, and then let's say, best case scenario, you get out of the Hammer of Justice, you're still maximum corruption. And I don't know.
What if they counter Spite? What if they just Spite on top of Zuni when they're doing the setup? And they
the answer to Spite more Spites? It could be.
I think so. It wasn't NA last week, so I feel like if you're nLite, you got to be playing those Spites yourself now, right? And just drop them on Zuni, like little protective barriers on the ground.
6 Spites, 1 arena. Is that what we're about to witness?
Yeah, floor is lava. Let's go. Gates are open. We got Windwalker, Fire Mage, Holy Paladin versus Disc Priest Jungle, game number 2 on Blackroot Hold, which is the map choice of nLite. nLite here loves to go to this map. They got a trap here, potentially onto Looney. Stun into trap. Blizzo in trouble. What are you going to do here, Blizzo? Kick onto Morrow. And no stun onto Blizzo. Did he Fist of Fury to stun? Or maybe just use that preemptive?
Oh, no.
You want to go for it. But now Zuni is getting destroyed. They got a Ring of Frost onto Cassidy and the pet. So no Master's Calls available. But no Spites here.
They didn't even need to. They baited him. I think they baited him
into
using paint suppression.
They didn't really bait him. It was touch of death. I mean, it was a good amount of damage. It wasn't a horrible trade from Zuniaki, but I'm going to quickly take a look and see, are they even running Spite again? Yeah, they definitely are. So the next setup on Zuni is going to be absolutely horrifying. If Blizzo can survive, he needs to survive a little bit longer. He's getting so low. He gets out the Touch of Karma, and now going after Zuniaki once again. Let's see what they can get. Paralyzed on Zuniaki, or sorry, a Spearhand Strike into a full leg sweep. Zuniaki is going to be in a lot of trouble, and they're actually hiding the fact that they're playing Spite this game. They're waiting. Actually, no, they're not. Blizzo's not playing Spite this game. They don't even have it. So, not opting to go for that, which is kind of bizarre to me, because I feel like there's nothing Zuniaki can really do about it. And I think Morrow's actually playing. Oh, he's not. Okay, so no Spites this game.
No, Looney has it. Looney didn't get the memo.
No, Looney doesn't. If you refresh it.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't. They're playing Claws. Okay.
Okay.
Just playing normal build on the side of Wildcard game, even after just blowing Zuniaki out in that first game. I wouldn't say that it's not looking... It's looking good for them even without it. I mean, they got Paint Suppression in one attempt. They got Vitality in the next. They get Barrier here. Swap over to Looney. Interesting strategy here from nLite going after the healer themselves. If they can get a Mass Dispel on the Divine Shield, not going to find it. Looney's Powerhouse healing with that Avenging Wrath going to be more than enough. Charging in on top of Zuniaki, getting ready for another attack. Will Zuniaki be able to survive the onslaught? Fists of Fury are flying. It's not even combustion. Zuni's being absolutely overwhelmed. Vitality Conduit activates. He goes for the Shadowman, gets interrupted, follows up with a Penance, desperately trying to stabilize here, but Blizzo gets bopped to stay on target and train down the Disciplined Priest. Zuniaki finally restabilizing back to full health, but mana-wise, not so good.
Definitely not the best situation here for him, but they have managed to force out, some Blessing of Protection, some sacks. So the next time they can get something going, they could potentially look to take Blizzo down before he gets his trinket back, though. But they would have to go very, very quickly. Zuni's moving in for the fear. They get the stun. Looney trinkets out of the stun into a potential fear here, or a potential trap. He gets the full fear. The Seal is looking for the trap here. Blizzo has a Touch of Karma, though. I'm just expecting to trade it out here onto Zuni. If he has to. Doesn't look like they have the damage to follow it up, actually. They're going for Morrow instead, but Morrow, he didn't even need to use, he didn't even have Temporal Shield, but even if he had it, he wouldn't have had to use it. They got a full Hammer of Justice here. Blizzo's there with the Fist of Fury. Do they have any interrupts here for Zuni? Maybe a little leg sweep here. Blizzo's holding onto it for now. It doesn't maybe want to waste it here on that DR. And I think they're just playing the mana game at this point on the side of Wildcard Gaming. They just want to run Zuni out of mana as quickly as possible. And so far, it's looking very likely to happen. But big swap here onto Blizzo, trap onto Looney. Blizzo's going to need to port away here. He's trying to shut down Zuni from getting that fear. They do get the fear. Blizzo trinket, touch of karma immediately. And now Zuni is in a massive trouble here, man.
Oh, he absolutely is. I mean, Zuniaki took off tons of corruption in this matchup. He's actually at minus 19 corruption instead of 39 the last game. So playing at, a bit of a versatility loss. Blizzo, though, taking some damage as well. The sacrifice comes in. Nice mind control from Zuniaki as nLite is getting control of this game. I don't know how much longer Zuniaki has to live, though. If Wildcard Gaming can stabilize, they can definitely turn this around, but that is a big if. Looney's going to have to trade his Divine Shield here. There's absolutely no way. Blizzo uses the Fortifying Brew. He's trying to reconnect. He actually portals away, and he might be able to hold on. Looney actually holds on to the Divine Shield. This is a minor victory here for Wildcard Gaming, but Blizzo could still just fall down.
That Fort Brew got so much value from Blizzo. Really the only reason he's even alive at this point, but maybe for not much longer. Zuni's Avenging Wrath comes up soon, but now he's skull bashed on his heel, and they're having a hard time getting back to Zuni. Blizzo charges in to go for it. Reckless abandon. They go for the Blessing of Protection. Can Zuni get a Dispel? No, he's stun locked up. Blizzo's going to recover Facile and a Polymorph. Zuniaki in a ton of trouble here. Leg sweep to follow up. Gunning down, trying to take out Zuni. Huge pressure. He's got Barrier, but Dressigat drops. He's trying to hold on with only Conduit. Going for Shadow Mend. Interrupted. Follows up with Penance. Good combo to maintain his mana. And he does restabilize, running into the Ring of Frost with a Premonition. Now on Polymorph Diminishing Return, Zuniaki could charge into midfield. Mind control on the Mage, trap on the Paladin, stun onto the Windwalker. Beautiful crowd control here by nLite as they look to battle back in game number 2, but Blizzo's Karma just came back and is available. Looney has Avenging Wrath. He should be able to pull Blizzo back into the fight, but he actually gets feared up by Zuni. Maybe not. Blizzo in a lot of trouble, still has to trade Karma on top of it. A small victory for nLite. Ring of Peace on the barrier, but Zuniaki positions against the wall. Unfortunately, I think he's right on the edge of it. Perfect positioning by Zuniaki. Desperate Prayer activates, trying to get those Depths of Shadows. Shadow Men's restabilizing with barely any mana left. He's running negative corruption to try and deal with Spite that's not even being played. Wildcard Gaming with sick mind game strategies in this series. Zuniaki is playing incredibly far from behind.
Oh, Zuni has about 5% mana left in the tank. They got one more opportunity here onto Blizzo. Preemptive Fort Brew once again by Blizzo. He gets the leg sweep here onto Facile as well, buying himself time. There's the Hammer of Justice, and I don't know if Zuni's going to be able to survive this. Moro's there. The Pyroblast connecting the Dragon's Breath. So much damage. Moro's going for the Sheep. He gets the silence there from the Hunter. Zuni, he's going to be able to stabilize once again with the Vitality Conduit and that Rapture, but they are running out of time, and they are running out of time very, very quickly here. Looney in a full trap. Looney actually preemptive sacrifice on that trap. Now Looney is the target. He pre-tops himself before he gets stunned there, and Cassidy and Facile, they're going to abandon the push onto Looney. Looney's going to have time to heal up his teammates. Vitality Conduit before the Hammer of Justice by Zuni, but is it going to be enough? That is the question here. So much damage coming out of Blizzo here with that Windwalker doing that Fist of Fury, but Zuni, once again, because of that preemptive play, looks like he's going to be alive, but he has no way of topping himself up here. Pain Suppression ready in a couple of seconds. Could be, no, I think he's going to hold on to it for the next stun. So Zuni, I think, has about 2 more stuns left in him before he falls over. Now, nLite needs to make something happen quickly.
Oh, they definitely do. Looney in a trap. Can they get it done? There's the full fear. Blizzo still. He has a touch of karma, and they're still just all over Zuni. There's a stun. Blizzo. He can't underreact. What a scary situation. He holds on to the karma, though, a little bit greedy. I feel like I would have just trinket karma there instantly, but really having faith in Looney. And the heals incoming. Blizzo manages to hold on now, continuing to push. Zuniaki almost completely tapped on mana. Maro, it's really difficult for Maro to actually connect to his target right now. The full Hammer of Justice lands, and they might just be able to kill through Pain Suppression. Zuniaki gets Dragon's Breath on his first heal. Looks like the Vitality Conduit will be enough. And I mean, that's the thing. If they don't get really good consistent damage and good interrupts, Vitality Conduit will rotate back up. The Ring of Peace gets used. Zuniaki with no powered barrier, not going to be able to really take advantage of that preemptive Ring of Peace. And still, Wildcard Gaming are continuing the aggression, and Zuniaki may have ran out of time.
Yeah, 0 mana left, 0 cooldowns left. Hammer of Justice is down. Zuniaki holds on by a thread. Dragon's Breath into leg sweep. Blizzo closing it out here with Rising Sun Kick. Wildcard Gaming, man. This was a sick strategy to go in with this series. Play Spite, blow Zuniaki out of the water, scare him into taking off his corruption. Game number 2, don't even wear Spite, and then Zuniaki's just playing with such a massive deficit in stats that he can't keep up with the pressure. Wildcard Gaming came prepared for this.
Yeah, Wildcard Gaming up 2-0 now in this series, playing so cleanly. And I just gotta wonder what kind of headspace nLite is in now after these 2 losses here. We can talk about that in a second. Let's go over this replay though, Ben.
I mean, we can see it. Dampening is just stacking up. Zuniaki, I mean, he's done a great job surviving so far, but it's too little too late. The damage is completely overwhelming. Dragon's Breath, leg sweep out of the Hammer of Justice. They still have multiple interrupts available. And Zuniaki, he just falls behind, gets overwhelmed from the lack of versatility. And honestly, I mean, even though he didn't have that much versatility, he still survived greatly until he was, completely tapped on resources. So I think for Blizzo, Maro, and Looney, their strategy is really, really strong. And the one nice thing about going after the priest like this is it really allows Maro to kind of exploit Cassidy and Facile. So you can get double Dragon's Breath on Cassidy and Facile, put them into Polymorphs, put them into Ring of Frosts, and that way Zuniaki gets caught in these situations where it's basically a 1 versus 3. And I think it's interesting to see that in Europe they're starting to adapt this composition, because it's something we've seen play out quite a bit in North America, and now even the European teams are starting to kind of utilize the strength of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I was saying, that nLite, they're kind of doing everything they can here. They don't have much else that they can really do in terms of composition, and now they're down 2-0 against Wildcard Gaming, and I just gotta wonder what kind of headspace they're in, like I was saying before, Zico, with their backs up against the wall like this.
Well, at this point, I think they're getting a little desperate, so we might see Zuni on a different healer, like a H-Pal, Mistweaver, but obviously they're not picking that in the first and second game, so maybe not what they want to be going for. But I think at this point you got to switch something up, right? You tried twice winning with the priest jungle, and it just didn't work. So I think going for it the third time would be not so wise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Wildcard playing super well, obviously, up 2-0 against nLite. And, nLite, we saw them win 1 series last weekend, lose 1 series last weekend. Now they may lose this series against Wildcard Gaming. It's just going to be a seriously uphill battle for nLite if they want to try and turn this a game around here, Supatees. What do they have left? What can they do for game number 3? Or do you think this just might be hopeless on the side of nLite?
Well, it's like Zuni, he starts the game and he can wear his corruption, but then if Wildcard plays Spite, then he's just going to get destroyed. But then if he goes in and he doesn't wear corruption, can he live long enough or get enough pressure out as well to be able to win without the corruption? It's like this huge gamble that he's taking here, and Wildcard Gaming hold all of the cards. Like I feel like if Zuniaki wears corruption and they don't Spite, is it really that bad for them? Maybe it is. It could actually be really bad. So this entire game and maybe the series could just come down to what build they have coming out of the gate. Does Wildcard Gaming not have Spite and Zuniaki wears corruption? Then Zuniaki's team can win. If Zuniaki doesn't wear corruption, Wildcard Gaming don't wear Spite, Wildcard Gaming are going to win. And it actually might just be that factor alone between these teams.
All right, nLite has locked in Ashmane's Fall, Wildcard Gaming locking in Windwalker Mage once again, nLite gonna keep Zuni on that Disc Priest and with that jungle. Now that we have both comps on the board as well as the map here, then do we have maybe a more of an idea of what we can expect coming out of this next game?
Well, I think we already can pretty much expect, we already know what we're going to expect. I think Wildcard Gaming is going to sit on Zuniaki the whole game. Maybe they're wearing Spite, maybe they're not. Doesn't seem to really matter that much. I mean, for Zuniaki, he's got definitely he's got a big question in his mind right now. Do I use enough corruption or don't I? If he makes the wrong call, he's probably going to lose. Even if he makes the right call, he might still lose. So I think for nLite, they're in a really, really difficult situation. But we've seen them battle it back from really, really difficult spots in the past and basically pull miracles out of their hat. So we'll see if they can do it. Wildcard Gaming definitely looking good. The Windwalker Fire Mage Paladin seems to be a pretty good answer into jungle, just sitting on the priest. We'll have to see if Zuniaki can handle the pressure and if Cassidy and Facile can find the damage they need to force Wildcard Gaming into a defensive position. If they can't, and Maro and Blizzo can just sit on target with the stuns, I think Zuniaki's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Mm-hmm. And this is something that makes Wildcard Gaming such a strong team. They're faced with these situations, and it seems like they always just come back with these super strong, consistent answers against basically any situation that are put in front of them. That's why we see them so successful in the AWC Cups, and why we're seeing them do so well in this series right now up against nLite, Zico.
Yeah, and I think that it's just jungle is one of those comps where you can overcome a lot of setups by just knowing your strategy, how you want to gear, how you want to approach the matchup. Do you want to play long game, do you want to play short game? So it's very similar to like Rogue Mage in that sense. If you can kind of figure out how to beat everything, you have a decent shot. But I feel like jungle right now, there's just certain matchups where you literally cannot do anything, like Mage Lock. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's a little bit dependent on what the meta is and who their opponent is. I think Wildcard is probably the worst beast for nLite to face as well. So I don't think they were maybe expecting to win here. Maybe like one game, but definitely not the series, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's something that we touched on a little bit as well in that last series. It seems like for whatever reason, jungle teams kind of don't really have any strong comps that would be at least as strong as their main composition on jungle. Do we have any idea as to why? Is that just a coincidence with the current jungle teams that we're seeing with, you know, Turtle, F2K, and nLite as well? Or is there just, I don't know, what's the reason behind that? Can we take any guess?
That's like a weird point, actually. How many ferals are good multiclassers? And then how many good multiclassers also multiclass feral?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel maybe Feral's just not useful, and that's why the multiclassers don't play Feral.
Well, here's a better question. What other comp than jungle can you play with a Hunter? If you have a Hunter main on your roster,
Shadow Priest Hunter is like, okay.
Oh, is it? I mean, why don't we see Golden Guardians play it once if it's so good?
Yeah. I don't know about the scatter play. Is that what it's called? Scatter play?
Yeah.
Either way, doesn't matter. We are in game here. Wildcard versus nLite. Full trap onto Looney. Blizzo taking quite a beating here. He's gonna greed his trinket and use that fourth brew right there at the end of it. Zuni actually getting sheeped here. Looks like they want to go after Cassidy. Zuni prems the sheep, and they do get a little bit of damage here on the Cassidy, but I do think he preemptively survival instinct that setup right there. So now I do believe they want to go after Zuni here and start laying down the law, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to quickly look if they are playing Spite, and they actually are not. And let's see what Zuniaki's doing once again. Kind of been baited into running under corruption, so he's at minus 19 once again. I guess the one plus side is he doesn't have to deal with his eye of corruption. I mean, that's kind of nice. Full fear now over onto Looney, and let's see if they can really capitalize on it. The full trap comes in. Blizzo with not too many defensive cooldowns gets paralyzed on Cassidy. Interrupt on Zuniaki as he continues to push the pace. Motorcycle, vroom vroom. Oh, it's kind of a lackluster boom there, but Blizzo manages to hold on. The blessing and protection from Looney more than enough for Blizzo to continue this push. And if you look, Zuniaki is doing quite a good job right now with his mana. Now we're actually getting a full polymorph onto Zuniaki. Premonitions it, very nicely done. Zuniaki has been on point in this matchup. But this is a really difficult matchup for a Priest to play in, but he's doing a great job so far.
See if you can keep it up here on match point. They need to reverse sweep Wildcard Gaming. Wildcard Gaming won 3 out of 4 of the cup stages before this circuit, so they're definitely a dominating force. Zuniaki currently stun locked up here and counterspelled. Really trying to lay in the pressure, but not finding too much damage. Zuniaki's charging into midfield, looking for a Psychic Scream, gets caught in a polymorph. They're switching their damage over to Cassidy, but Blizzo's on the back foot, currently bashed up while Looney's in a trap. Huge resting half drop! Blizzo almost flops! He may just fall over! Blessing of Protection barely comes in the nick of time. The pressure from nLite this time around is a lot higher, and that was a close call.
That was a really nice setup there. That was the second Blessing of Protection, and Blizzo's going to have his Karma now, so he's going to be okay for a little while, but that could have easily just been the game. Blizzo ported and lived on literally like 5-10%, so still signs of life here being shown by nLite. Zuni looking for the fear, but he's going to need a Master's Call or something on Looney. They get a trap here. Zuni actually gets sheep, so he's not going to be able to find the fear at the end of the trap here. Maru's doing a great job. He actually gets a nice Dragon's Breath there onto Zuni, into the Hammer of Justice, and that's going to prevent him from using that Vitality Conduit, and that's going to make it so that he drops extremely low here in the stun lock combo by Blizzo and Maru. He still might need to use that touch of karma. Blizzo needs to be careful. Stun onto Looney, but no trap to follow it up. Blizzo feels safe enough to push forward, and he does have that karma, so he should be pretty safe. But now he gets stunned up here. Full trap onto Looney. Nice Dragon's Breath ring by Maro. Might actually save Blizzo from using that karma altogether. Wow, what a play. And he snipes a sheep as well. Maru really heating up in this game, Ben.
Yep, and we'll see. I really like what Wildcard Gaming is doing. You can't really train down a Discipline Priest. You kind of have to kill them in burst windows. So just playing really, really defensive between their goes, I think, is an intelligent option. But a lot more pressure on Blizzo in this game as a sacrifice does trade out. Blizzo finally reconnecting to his target. Big leg sweep coming in. Let's see if they have the damage to follow it up. Preemptive Vitality Conduit from Zuniaki. He's full HP after the leg sweep and Hammer of Justice. Zuniaki just doing a phenomenal job, even premonitioning the polymorph there. Ring of Peace knocks him away. They're trying to deny the fear, but it is going to be a trinket, fortifying brew, and karma. Zuniaki gets interrupted. Cassidy now taking a bit of damage, but I don't really see Cassidy going down in this matchup unless they can find a really, really beautiful setup. Blizzo's in a lot of trouble. Luna gets interrupted, and Blizzo now is on the run. nLite playing this one out beautifully.
Nice turbo fist there by Blizzo, preventing Cassidy's assault. Zuniaki's on a polymorph. Cassidy on the run, trying to retreat Blizzo in hot pursuit. Cassidy is avoiding Blizzo quite effectively, but Zuniaki's still in crowd control. They're swapping back over to the Priest, trying to lay down pressure in two places. Cassidy peels Blizzo away with the rake stun, preventing any sort of reconnect and recovering here. Zuniaki's maintaining his mana excellently at this position. I feel like he was much lower on mana in past games. He switched up his corruption, not wearing -19, only wearing 11, so a little bit slightly more in between. He's trying to find the sweet spot where if they use Spite, he's not going to explode, but if they don't use Spite, he's not so far behind. Nice premonition on the polymorph by Zuniaki during the double leg sweep. Definitely important to survive here. Vitality Conduit brings Cassidy back into the fight. Touch of Death is rolling though, so you may need to get ready for that as it connects. They need to land this freezing trap. The Seal's sitting on top of Looney, camping him, but polymorphed away, still waiting before going for the freezing trap. Chasing down Looney in the backline. Zuniaki's too far to go for a Psychic Scream, though. This map pick was excellent by Wildcard Gaming. Maybe a freezing trap is just enough, though. Remote guidance device. Drestigath drops. Mind controls out by Zuniaki. Forced Divine Shield from Looney. Excellent positioning there by Zuniaki, out of line of sight of the interrupts and landing that mind control. But Maro slips through here with a blink polymorph. Cassidy caught in a stun. He pre-walls it. Nice read by Cassidy. That's reducing a ton of damage. Zuniaki prems the ring, runs back into line of sight, stabilizing Cassidy. Now Looney once again bashed up, breaks out of it. Facile getting ready to land a freezing trap here. Blizzo could be in trouble if he does. Maro's disrupting it with polymorphs for a few more seconds. Facile keeps chasing down Looney. He really needs to land this freezing trap. Zuniaki in the stun. Blizzo swaps over with the protection of that Blessing of Protection, going all out on Zuniaki, but Zuniaki's walking off with the Vitality Conduit. Facile jumps in, secures the freezing trap. Blizzo looks to deflect with the Fortifying Brew. It's soaking a ton of damage, but maybe not enough. Psychic Scream to follow up, forcing the karma from Blizzo as well. He's not feeling comfortable here in game 3.
Oh, Blizzo, no cooldowns left, but Looney does have his sacrifice. No way to break traps, though, here for Looney. Gets interrupted, which means he most likely is going to get stunned. To seal trinkets, actually, to get that trap here, potentially. Let's see if Looney preemptively sacrifices it. I think he feels safe right now with just the Avenging Wrath. He actually runs in, gets the Hammer of Justice before he gets stunned into that freezing trap. Blizzo, no cooldowns. Looney, no breakers. Needs to be extremely careful. I'm not sure if he taunted a pet there to break that or what happened there, but Looney is out of crowd control. Blizzo's going to port to his line of sight. Blizzo is going to be completely safe, and they have about one more trap here on the side of nLite before Blizzo is going to have his Touch of Karma back, he's going to have his Fort Brew back, and they're going to have to go through all those cooldowns once again. But it looks like maybe they're swapping over to Looney. No, they actually just stun him up. He gets a nice sacrifice in between the stuns. They almost take Blizzo down there with those 2 stuns, and now they're swapping their attention to Looney. He gets interrupted, and he gets exploded in that swap right there. Excellently done there. Nice attempt by Cassidy, noticing that, hey, Blizzo has no cooldowns. We don't even have time to wait for the trap. Let's just stun him, double dress this monk and see what happens. They force out the sack, and they are able to swap back to Looney with that extra Hand of Sacrifice damage as well.
Wow, well done by nLite. Now they've got a game against Wildcard Gaming. Now Wildcard Gaming will be picking their map choice next. Is that so? We did just see them obviously win that last game here on the side of nLite, though. Is that something they can repeat against Wildcard Gaming, or is this just going to be a 3-1 here, Ven? I almost said Zen Rookie. I don't know why.
I think I think Zuniaki, Cassidy, and Facile, they played a fantastic game. I mean, their offense, their defense, their crowd control, basically everything about it. They're showing why they're considered the best jungle cleave in Europe, or at least one of them. One of the two best jungle cleaves for sure, if not the best. But for Looney, Maro, and Blizzo, I honestly, I want to see them run the spites again. I mean, Zuniaki, I was actually wrong. The tooltip didn't update, so he wasn't running minus 19 again. He was at around 11. And I still feel like that's such a good win condition for them. Even if Zuniaki is running low corruption, I still think it's super effective for getting those setups and really pressures Zuniaki quite a bit. Game number 1, I was much more of a believer, and it seems like nLite, they're getting a little bit more used to this composition, and I think Wildcard Gaming either needs to spite again or they need to switch up their composition entirely.
Okay, Wildcard Gaming, what do you think their next move is then, Zico, based off what Ben said?
I think either we're going to see Spite or we're going to see Turbo Time.
Yeah, Turbo.
Turbo.
Okay,
All map,
right.
Turbo. Just go.
That is kind of what you guys were
Turbo.
saying, that we would expect Wildcard Gaming to play in this series. If they do play Turbo, then Supatees, what is their strategy for nLite? How do we want to see that next game go if they play Turbo?
I mean, you can just run down the priest the same way, I think, with Turbo, or you just play back, hit Feral, hit Hunter. I mean, you just get insane pressure on multiple targets. It's just way more damage. And it's just good priest killing comp with good interrupts, cooldown reduction, low cooldown interrupts, so you can constantly get through the Shadowman's independence. I would rather see it, I think, than the Windwalker Mage. I feel like the Windwalker Mage started out really good, and it's looking worse and worse every game. And maybe if it has to win with a spite, then the game just comes down to what do they pick for their build in the waiting room. Like Zuniaki wears negative corruption, they wear spite. Now they don't have dressing out, they can't do enough damage to win. If Zuniaki wears corruption, they wear spite, then spite just wins. So it's like you that's like such a big gamble. It's just like you're 50-50 coin toss in the room in that matchup, or you could just play Turbo and just run at the priest. Zug. I don't know. 100% win rate is Turbo in the jungle. It's already proven its effectiveness. I would personally rather see that.
All right, Wildcard Gaming locked in Tiger's Peak, and nLite sticking with that same composition. Zuni on the disc, Priest, Wildcard Gaming under a minute to pick their composition. Now that we have the map here, do we have any more of an idea, Zico, of how we can expect this next game to go? Do we think they're going to run Turbo with Tiger's Peak?
Well, I don't think the Tiger's Peak is like an awful map for Turbo, but I don't think it's like a great map either. So it doesn't really say too much to us. But okay, well, maybe we're gonna see Spite. I feel like on the side of nLite, they're gonna be ready for it, but I don't really think they can do too much about it. I mean, even if they don't wear corruption, I feel like you wearing a Spite versus a priest taking off all of his corruption is still like a win for you. So I think no matter what, if you're Wildcard, you go for Spite, and if Zuni's wearing no corruption, just use it on somebody else. I think it's still like a net positive for them to run it, especially seeing how good it was in game number 1 for them. So I think that's going to be the big change here.
Who do you think's in a better position here for this next game, Wildcard Gaming or nLite, Zico?
I want to see what they do with their gear. If nothing changed from the last game, I would say nLite actually, because nLite. They weren't behind on mana, they weren't behind on anything really. Like, even if they didn't win right there, they weren't like, oh, they're gonna lose soon, they had to win there, you know? It felt like they made it to dampening pretty comfortably actually, and they would have had more opportunity even if they didn't get a kill there.
I just like the fact that Zuni showed up in a Hawaiian t-shirt and took all of his plants and put them behind him for the full jungle immersion experience for this for the player cams there.
It's a passive
but
damage
it sounds
buff.
like what?
Passive damage buff, just being in the jungle.
Home field advantage.
Yes, exactly. Sounds like the game, though, is finally ready here. Wildcard Gaming versus nLite, 2-1 on Tiger's Peak.
Okay, I feel like it's going to come down more to their gear. So, I mean, I'm just like hotly
refresh the
eagerly
page,
refreshing
refresh the
this.
page.
Yeah, but it takes a little bit. So, if they're wearing spites, man.
Yeah, if you guys are watching the stream as well, make sure you guys check out awc.gcd.tv if you want to see what gear they are going to be running. That's what we're going to be paying attention to here relatively soon. Mara actually going for human, and they're going for the spites once again. They get the polymorph. Spites onto Zuniaki. How much corruption is there going to be? Zuniaki's going to be taking a ton of damage in this setup. This is basically perfect. What is Zuniaki going to be able to do? There comes a stun. Massive damage. They might just kill him through pain suppression. Zuniaki has to be careful. And this pain train is not going to be over just yet. Rapture might be enough for him to survive. Look at these power word shields. They're absolutely insane. 50% of his health with that Rapture. But that was a nice setup. They get to pain suppression, and that's exactly what they wanted. First setup, pain suppression. Second setup, potentially the end of the game.
Okay, this is going to be stressful. Blizzo stunned up. Nice mind control on Looney. These have been game-winning mind controls from Zuniaki if he can keep sneaking him in. Polymorph on Zuni. They're swapping over to Cassidy. I don't think he's under too much pressure. He's in bear form. He's ready for the hit. He's not taking too much damage. He line of sights Morrow while he's polymorphing Zuniaki. No greater pyroblast found just yet. Big damage on the Blizzo. Nice stun lock here! Beautiful stun by Cassidy. Almost catching a kill onto Blizzo, but surviving long enough to use Karma. Now they're just getting ready. They're waiting for that blinding light. They're going to use blinding light on Zuniaki. They're going to drop spites. They're going to polymorph him 3 times, but Blizzo hasn't been comfortable. Looney goes for a big divine favor, topping him off. Needs to get in position for the blinding light. I'd love to just see them use divine shield, get aggressive, secure the spite, and close the series here, because that's all they need to do at this point. They're so far ahead on cooldowns. Looney charges in. Where's the blinding light? Zuniaki pre-barriers, but Looney was patient and waited for the barrier. Now they're spiting him with the polys. Blizzo's on the back foot as well. Looney trade sacrifice. There's no way. No! Oh, the hammer was late.
Oh, he's still in the
Justice
spite,
comes in.
I don't think it's over corrupt. Is that 2 spites? I don't think it's 3. It doesn't look like 3. I don't think from beyond.
Super botch attempt. One thing from beyond is going to be landing, but that attempt was definitely botched there a little bit by Wildcard Gaming. Or nLite just did a really good job diffusing that situation. I really felt like once they got that full polymorph, they should have just fully committed. Like, there was no pain suppression, there was no power word barrier. I think Looney should have just bopped Blizzo and they should have just gone for it. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And now Wildcard Gaming, once again, is a little bit on the back foot. Fear onto Looney. He does have the Blessing of Protection. He does have the Divine Shield. Blizzo is absolutely on the run. And so far, nLite, they are not looking bad. But anything can happen with the Spite Trinket. If they just get one more clean setup, Zuniaki still has no pain suppression. And Wildcard Gaming is still just one setup away from winning this game.
Yeah, oh, big damage here onto Blizzo. They used the bop there to try to help him out. Zuni still has his trinket here, I do believe. Did he prem that sheep? I don't think he did. Morrow gets the spite out. Blizzo gets the spite out. Looney is running in. He gets the blinding light and the third spite right there. Morrow gets interrupted on Frost. Looney with the big heal. And there it is. Leg sweep coming through. Looney, do you have the Hammer of Justice? Is the coffin that's not playing? One thing from beyond would be enough here to take that.
Ring of Peace?
Going to survive here.
I don't know. No damage reduction cooldowns. Guidance device on the Blizzo, trying to force him off of Zuniaki. He uses big Shadow Men there. His corruption stacks are still at 30 right now, so not exactly comfortable. Interrupted on his heals, goes for Vitality Conduit. Thing from Beyond connects. One Thing from Beyond. If another one spawns, he's surely done. He goes for a double Psychic Scream. Defensively, he's desperate. Pain Suppression just came off cooldown. Soaks the counterspell, goes for a Penance. Another Thing from Beyond spawns, chasing down Zuniaki. If Blizzo connects here, it might just be his life. Huge Shadow Men's come in. Zuniaki living on a prayer right now. Greater Pyros from Morrow off to the side. One onto Zuni. Looking for a second one. Interrupt. Big combo. Looney needs to get in line of sight. Keep his team aggressive here onto Zuniaki. They could win with the next Hammer of Justice. Zuniaki stabilizes. But, I mean, there's so many cooldowns. Look at this. Divine Shield Sacrifice. Karma. Wall. You're caught in a Paralyze. You're caught in a Blinding Light. You're caught in Spite again. He barely survived the last one. How on earth did he make it out this time?
Yeah, that's Touch of Death. That's gonna be, I'm pretty sure, a GG. He can't believe it. He couldn't have done anything. He played such a great game, but unfortunately for him, this time around, he went with the 8 Versa corruptions. And honestly, I think that was like